guys? Nate Latimer, your host here of the Big Data Show. Real excited about our guest today. This is Mr. Nick Harmon. Owns a hedge fund, blockchain, global capital. And it's going to be an interesting chat, considering the volatility of the Bitcoin world, blockchain. My opinion is definitely the best thing that ever came out of Bitcoin. So I guess, Nick, thanks for being here, first of all.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Nate.
Absolutely. So, Nick, give us a little background on yourself, how you got involved with Bitcoin, how long you've been in the game, and tell us about blockchain global.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. It really started with security. I was trying to figure out how to. I was just looking into encryption in general, learning about different algorithms, and I came upon learning PGP and the SHA and all those different encryption methods. And then when I was studying those, I learned about Bitcoin. And it wasn't too far off, and so I started messing with it, putting a couple bucks in, thinking it was fun to send, a couple bucks to a family member and signing transactions and doing it the whole manual way. And then, I kind of stopped for a little bit, traded, on and off. Didn't really know the importance of it, of what I'd found. And then time progressed, went through school. And then I met a family friend who happened to own a volatility fund in the fiat world. And we had just had dinner and a conversation. And turned out, we got the idea to start a Bitcoin fund together after I talked to him about, the potential upside of Bitcoin, because it was just before the halvening cycle. And being used to some of the stuff, I knew what would be happening after the halvening cycle. And so we put together a fund structure. And I was very lucky to have a mentor like John, because we were able to do it the adult way, the proper way, which not a lot of people were.
Who's John? I'm sorry.
John Morgan's one of my partners in the fund. Me and him had started the fund, and with Garen Rydock and Greg Snow. And we really went in, tried to do everything the right way. We went to Riverless Wahab for our securities law in New York City. Nav consulting for administration, Richie May for accounting, like all the big dogs. We wanted to do it proper way, be compliant, and make sure that our customers and clients felt safe. That was our most important mission, because
that's also your biggest uphill battle, is that friction and inertia in that space.
Yes.
A lot of people, will look at the crypto world as a layer of voodoo to it. Even people claim money laundering and just all the ways people have used crypto as a whole, historically, nefariously, I guess I should say. But it sounds like you guys are doing it the right way, the up and up way. So that's why I was really interested in having you on the show, is so methodically you can educate our viewers on what that difference looks like and what the future should really hold within your space.
Yeah, the way that we handle things as far as risk management, we want to know all our counterparty risk. We handle our own security, our own cold storage. We make sure that our banking partners are legit, and we saw everything that happened with Silvergate. Avoided the Luna, the FTXs, all this, these type of collapses, because we do due diligence. We're not the number go up, money, let's get a Lambo type of people. We don't want them as investors. That's not really who we are. We're more of a conservative fund that likes to have a buy and hold approach, where we look at long-term cycles. Our last buy, for example, was at about 18,000. Bitcoin's now running around 27,000. Bouncing between that and like 30. And then we have an artificial intelligence model that takes another portion of the fund and enters and exits the market based on structure.
And that's something that I'm super interested in. With this AI boom that's going on, just the algos alone, the algorithms are pretty impressive. So, making your clients feel safe is super important. Being the grown-up in the room, so to speak, that's been through it and really understands the technology and how to put those algorithms to use and have a proven track record, so that they do feel safe. is super important. So what does that strategy look like for you guys? How are you doing it?
So, without giving away the secret sauce, of course,
Sure, right.
what we do is we look at the market structure, we look at it at multiple time frames, and then we have a series of decisions that is supervised machine learning. And what happens is we watch and we see what these signals show us, and then we decide if we should be in market or out of market. And really, it's kind of like a beta model where we try to stay in as long as we're going up. And once we see that we're going to go flat or into a bear market, we exit and wait for a bull market to return. That way, people aren't losing their capital. You keep your gains, avoid the losses, and then go back to earning more gains. We are working on an alpha model. It will have a little bit more risk, but you'll be going long in the bull markets, short in the bear, and making.
So it really just depends on the client's risk
it's,
appetite.
It's a risk
right?
appetite. So that'd be a separate fund, of course. That one we had been talking with a company named Endotech, really interesting company that we had just got to know in the last couple months, and we'll see how that goes. But they have some really interesting artificial intelligence teams, and I think they have about 70 quants. And we're pretty interested in their institutional technology, but
Very
leave
cool.
it at that.
Yeah, I'd like to see how that pans out. Like, I guess really my question within that space is, with the artificial intelligence tools, you're gauging the, enter and exit strategy. Is it more so an AI babysitter, or is it more of a predictor that, you have a great track record with, and, your winnings are substantially different than, what other hedge funds could do?
To be quite honest, I'm safer in the babysitter role because when you try to predict the future, when you try to play God, you tend to get humbled.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my personal experience. And so my clients are my family, my friends, people that I talk to every day. And I got to look them in the face if I lose their money, right?
Sure.
So I stay very conservative. We still, for a conservative fund, we're up, I believe, 67% this quarter. So it's not like we're not doing anything. But, of course, we're trying to really manage risk here. And we're trying to keep our clients' funds safe, make sure that they don't end up the victim of a Luna, an FTX scam, anything like that, because they're out there. There are bad actors in the crypto space.
Sure.
But there's also good people that have come from the traditional finance world, that have come from big data, have come from AI. And, the progress that we're making is growing rapidly. It's enhancing everything that we do. And it's almost like a race or a war because as you can spin up new, I guess you could call them AI workers, you have the ability to run a 70-person trade desk with one person.
Sure.
And so the technology is allowing us to
be more efficient.
Be much more efficient as we take, we're a 2 and 20 fund, so that 2% management fee, we're able to work much more efficiently for the same amount of capital.
Wow, that's super impressive. So, trading digital assets, it can always be challenging, especially during tax season. So, I guess my question would be, how does your fund, ease that process?
Yeah, that's a big pain point.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I had 1 year and I about cried because it was the first year really the IRS put something out about digital assets, and I realized when I had to account for every trade, I'd been trading more than I probably should have. It was a personal account that I was having fun with, and it came from, I think, having an old Bitcoin or two, and so it was definitely a fun account. But when I saw how many trades I'd done per year, it was terrifying. And so the beauty of Blockchain Global Capital is our back-end office sends all of our investors a simple K-1 form, has everything done for them. They just hand that into their accountant, CPA. They're doing their own taxes. Most of them aren't, but they can just put that right in TurboTax. And then
that's convenient. That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, way easier. It's one form. It's just like if you got a W-2 or anything like that. And then the other thing that a lot of
gains
people...
are one thing. Holding steady is another thing. But preventing loss is, you can pitch gain all day long, but if you pitch loss, that's where people really get terrified. It's really like sales 101.
And to be honest, you're in a volatile market. You're not going to win every trade, and people need to know that if they're coming into the fund, we don't accept every client because people have to have the appetite for the risk that this vehicle has. It does have great returns, but there are days, where you might have a 20% downturn, and you have to have the stomach to know that is going to come back up, and you need to sit through some of the volatility. The fund is designed to not absorb as much volatility, but you're still going to have some. But yeah, overall, I think we've got a great group of LPs. Every client that we have, we're super happy with, and I think it's very important to educate the clients that are coming in so they know what to expect, what we provide, and really the whole suite that they're getting with Blockchain Global Capital, because it's not just an investment vehicle, it's security, it's compliance, it's keeping everything nice and tight and clean in a very messy space.
All right. And so you mentioned certain types of clients that you would accept and others you would turn down based on risk appetite. So with Blockchain Global, like what are those, I guess, parameters look like, those qualifiers? So, like what is your ideal client that you like to work with?
Ideal clients are accredited investors, people that they don't need this money to survive. They're not going to be asking for it back in a month because they can't pay their credit card bills, something like that.
So people that earn over $200,000 a year, or Logic, $1 million plus in net worth, or joint spousal income. Okay, cool, got it. So,
we want to talk to the big boys, people that are able to, again, if they're throwing in $250,000, $500,000. That is investment money they don't mind sitting with. We have not a long lockup, but a 6-month lockup so people can get used to the volatility without making a stupid mistake of jumping out the first time they see, some loss. But we haven't had any LPs actually leave our fund. Everybody's still with us from day one.
And that's incredible. And how long have you guys been around?
We're approaching 3 years now.
Okay, cool. So 3 years, and nobody's jumped ship yet. That's amazing. Nope. So I guess that leads me to my next question, which is kind of a hard question that nobody really wants to be asked, but I guess what is your, being in the game, what's your projection for, Bitcoin, for crypto, and, your fund over the next 5-10 years? Like what do you guys see futuristically?
So we're seeing a lot of adoption, and the adoption's coming from government. It's coming from large institutions. It's coming from financial institutions. And so you kind of have what I see as kind of a split. You have the crowd that really believes in freedom, freedom to transact, basically that anybody should have the right to be able to send value or money anywhere across the globe instantaneously without censorship. That's Bitcoin. Then you have what most governments are trying to do is take the technology and use it to use their currency and make a digital currency. People have some fears about that because you can control a digital currency. Maybe you bought too much meat and that's your limit. But that's probably more going to happen in China for the moment. The U.S. is developing FedNow, which is a payment system. We are looking at a digital dollar coming, but that's inevitable as well, right? Everything's on our phone. People live in their phones. You got XR, AR, VR, all the types of new realities coming out. So it's going to be a brave new world for sure. As far as performance, I think Bitcoin, as we saw, debt ceiling was just raised. Politicians, they're very incentivized to print more money. They run short-term campaigns. They can promise a lot, and if they spend and it doesn't work out, they're out of office. It's not their problem.
Exactly.
And so
which is a shame.
It's terrible.
It's a shame.
But we're seeing two kind of trapdoors from the system, I guess you could say. And you've got Bitcoin, which is kind of digital gold, and then you have physical gold. And a lot of people are fleeing traditional assets into those kind of safe haven assets, trying to avoid hyperinflation that's happening in South American countries and African countries. We don't have hyperinflation, of course, in the U.S., but it is growing, and people are feeling it. A shopping cart that used to cost $200 is now $500, right?
Right.
And so that's my prediction. I think that as long as governments continue to print, Bitcoin will continue to climb in value because every 4 years, Bitcoin the amount produced and mined is cut in half, so supply shrinks, and it shrinks and it shrinks, where the other side, supply grows and grows and grows. So it's basic math, to me.
Absolutely. It's almost a seesaw effect, or whack-a-mole, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. So, Nick, I know you have quite the extensive background in helping people achieve government funding. So, can you tell us about that a bit?
Yeah, the government has a lot of grants and loans right now that are not being applied for. They're especially in innovative technology, things that have to do with ESG and clean energy. And people just don't know how to apply. Title 17 has a lot of different sections right now. A company that I'm working with, EcoPowers, is looking to secure quite a large, loan, very cheap loan from the government in order to really scale their operation up, because they're able to fix the produced water problem, which produced water is the toxic water that comes out of producing natural gas. For 1 barrel of gas, you get 10 barrels of toxic water. Most companies pump that toxic water into the ground, and it's been causing earthquakes. They've patented a technology that reduces it between 70 and 90%, just doesn't come back up. It's just better engineering, and that's it. And so we're really looking to push that technology forward, reduce some of those issues. Anybody that has an innovative idea that could be clean energy, innovative technology, anything like that, they should look up, Title 17. They should get in touch with the government branches. Mining companies, get in touch with the Department of Energy. Grid resiliency, sustainable mining, stuff like that can actually be really good for the country. And we just need to educate politicians and people as well as the benefits.
Sure. Is that something that, you still do in your career now, is, help people with that type of funding? Should people contact you about that, or are you more focused on blockchain global, or both?
I definitely have my focus on blockchain global. That's my baby. But I have Harmon Blockchain Consulting is my consulting firm. We handle a lot of side deals, help people out that are new in the industry. Anybody that's looking for advice, we usually do a free consultation, and after that, depending on where their business needs to go, we help lead them the way. And that's a very simple business model. We're here to help.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Nick Harmon, I appreciate you being here, brother. That was very educational. You seem very knowledgeable about both your spaces, all 3 of them, 4 of them. I don't know. But that was very enlightening, and certainly appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Thank you so much, man.
All right.